And we're back.
Muscle growth. This is a very popular topic. Let's talk a little bit about.
Well, this is a little bit what has. This is how MAPS.
You got one on too.
I did. Look
hey,
at
right
that.
there.
Huh? Look at that.
So, one of the most what would you say, Adam, is one of the most underutilized factors when it comes to building muscle and modern muscle building routines?
100% without a doubt. Frequency. And I know this just from all the clients that I train. I mean, even as a trainer for many years, it was a tool that I didn't even apply that often. I mean, we live in this era of beast mode and all out and no days off. So intensity is what everyone is driven by, and I feel like it's easier to market to. So because of that, frequency isn't very sexy, isn't cool, doesn't show someone sweating like crazy and going to failure. And
now when you're talking about frequency, what you're referring to is how frequent you train a particular body part throughout the week. Now, a long time ago, muscle building routines trained body parts pretty frequently. The old timers used to train body parts 3 days a week, but sometime during I'd say the 60s and 70s, bodybuilders started to train more with what's called a body part split, where they would reduce frequency.
Well, we speculate that a lot of this has to do with the introduction of anabolic steroids, right? Because that's during that time is when it really started to hit and become popular. And I feel like bodybuilders could get away with this hammering one body part really, really hard, and then just letting it recover, then hammering it again a week later.
Right.
So I think that's where it got really popular.
And that's the myth. The myth is, I train my body part hard one time and then let it rest and recover throughout that entire week. And what happened is we confused recovery with muscle growth. And yeah, it might take you that long to recover, but muscle growth actually stops after about...
Well, I'll tell you why this is and why as a trainer, I was mistaken for a very long time, because I was under the impression that the main thing that made our muscle grow was the breaking down and the repairing of that. I mean, that was what I was teaching. That's what I was taught, was we got to break it down in the gym, and then you grow when you go home, you sleep, you recover, you feed, and that's how we grow and build muscle. But that's only one of the signals to send to your body to make it grow. And that's where I was mistaken.
That's true. And, we actually have some studies now to confirm that muscle growth really happens after a workout between 24 to 72 hours. It's kind of when it peaks. So by day 3, your muscles really stop growing, or at least it starts to slow down. But you have another 4 days during the week where you're not doing any exercises for that particular body part.
Well, explain how that works, right? So what happens, we get a hard workout, we send a signal to our body, right?
Right.
And what's happening when you lift heavy weights or weights in general, we're telling the body that, hey, listen, you need some more muscle. Your body needs to adapt in order to handle this stress that we're going to continue to put on it.
That's right.
So, and that signal that you send is really loud for the first day or two, and it starts to dip off.
It starts to dip off, and but then you have another 3 or 4 days until you hit that body part again, and the body starts to adapt again and may in fact start to bring back some of those gains you made in those 3 days. This may be why you go to the gym, hammer yourself, get sore, recover, go back to the gym, no improvement, and just fall into that breakdown recovery trap where you break a muscle down, recover, break a muscle down, recover, with no real progress. I wrote up here 2 kind of different scenarios to kind of give you an example of what we're talking about. Now, when we're talking about training the body more frequently or training body parts more frequently, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to train with more volume. In fact, your total volume may in fact be exactly the same. And this example is kind of going to demonstrate a little bit. So with option 1, you could be training a body part once a week for a total of 21 sets. So in other words, if I'm hitting my chest on Mondays and I'm doing 21 sets on that day for my chest, that's 21 sets for the entire week. Well, option 2 is a little bit different. Let's say I decide to take my chest and hit it 3 days a week, and instead of doing 21 sets in one workout, I'm doing 7 sets each time I'm working out. So the total volume is the same. I'm still doing 21 sets.
Well, not necessarily the total volume. The total amount of sets is the same, but more than likely, I'm willing to bet that option 2 actually has a slight bit of increased volume, because you're going to be able to get after those 7 sets each time a lot more than the guy or girl who's going to be on set number 20 on 21 on the same day. Which we all know. If you've been somebody who has hammered a single body part, you know that by the time you get to exercise 3 or 4, sets 15, 16, 20, you're nowhere near as strong as you were for the very first exercise. And this is part of why this is such a game changer for most people that start to do this. And I challenge anybody that's doing the body part split right now to not change anything. Do not change the amount of sets, just split it up.
Just split it up throughout the week. So, with option 2, we have 3 times the frequency. So you hit the body part, you get that muscle growth spike, and then as it starts to come down, you hit it again. So you've got this kind of constant muscle growth signal happening all week. Whereas with option 1, you did a long, hard workout and you've got that muscle growth spike, but by day 3 and 4, it's dropped off and you've got a couple days there where you're not sending that muscle building signal.
And using that analogy, what happens is, sure, this option 1 may be a louder signal than this one of these days, right? So you get this real loud signal, but then you have this huge steep drop off and you don't come back to it till another 6 days or 7 days before you hit again. Where this one may not be as loud of a signal because it's not as much volume in that single workout, but as it just slightly starts to dip, you're going back up again,
That's right.
dip, and then you go back up
and
again.
let's also consider exercise selection. So again, because we're talking about chest, if you're doing chest, 21 sets in one workout, the odds are the first maybe 2 or 3 exercises are the big muscle builders, right? Your bench press, your incline press, your dumbbell flies. By the time you get to the 4th exercise, you're doing what people call finishers, machine exercises, cable exercises, squeezing, the muscle, not really sending a loud muscle building signal. If I break up that chest workout into 3 different workouts, I've got triple the frequency and I'm much more likely to do those big gross motor movements more frequently because I'm fresh.
Right.
Because I'm fresh and I'm going to send a bigger muscle building signal. In fact, I challenge everybody watching, take your current workout, don't change anything like Adam said, split it up by 2 or 3 workouts and watch what happens. You will be blown away. In fact, when people do this, on average, I've seen, this is anecdote with my clients, I've seen people gain right away 3-4 pounds of muscle within a very short period of time.
Well, this is the huge success that MAPS has had. And we knew that when we developed the program, we knew that this is what was going to be the big game changer for most people. We knew that as trainers, we've been doing this for a very, very long time between all 3 of us, trained thousands of people. Almost everybody does a body part split. And so we knew that if we switched everybody over into this full body routine and we started to implement more frequency, right away people would see major change. So all the MAPS programs are built on this foundation.
Are built around this. In fact, MAPS programs will train the full body a few days a week, but there's also other frequency builders inside of MAPS. Some of our programs have what are called trigger sessions, others have mobility sessions, and others have focus sessions. All of these programs are based on this principle, and the results people are getting are blowing away their old body part split routines. In fact, if you go to mindpumpmedia.com, use the code MPTV and get 10% off. Also, subscribe to this channel. We post a new video every single day. Lastly, on mindpumpmedia.com, you can also get 30 days of coaching, and it's free.
And remember, too, any of those programs, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee on anything.